Hey everybody, Eric Dorward here with the Spartan Rocketry Club, and I'm continuing the finishing process here with my Estes Super Vega build. I have painted it pretty thoroughly, and coat's decent. It's not perfect, but it's certainly livable, and I don't really want to put any more paint on just in case I end up, applying it unevenly and getting some blisters on what is otherwise a decent coat. So basically, it's just all white, with one notable exception, and that's this engine cone here, which is just, I cut it separately and painted it black. Now, quickly on this, the instructions say that I'm not actually supposed to glue it in to the rocket. So I don't know. I mean, I'll leave it for the time being, but it's supposed to be decorative. But honestly, it fits perfectly fine. And it's going to go back here. It is a bit of a snug fit at the moment because there's paint here, which I should probably sand off just around the rim here. But the concern is that it'd be hard to get the motor in and out of the engine mount. I don't think that's actually a problem. I've used ones very similar to this on many rockets in the past, and that isn't really a problem. So, whatever, I'll just leave this out for the time being. The main goal of this particular build, though, is I need to start putting the decals on. The decals for this are just stickers, not water slides. So, yeah, they're old too. So this could be a little dodgy. So I'm going to move this for the time being. I cut most of them out, but there are a few left that I'm just going to do quickly. So the goal here is, of course, to cut them. You could use a hobby knife if you're really good at that and you prefer that, but I'm just going to use scissors. Unlike your average cut with scissors, you want to cut inside the dotted line, not on the dotted line, because you don't want any of that dotted line left after you've cut. And they actually give you a little bit of grace zone when they do this between the dotted line and where the decal actually starts. So don't worry too much about how far into the decal you're cutting. I mean, obviously you don't want to cut into the colored part, but if you're cutting not right on the dotted line, that is not a problem. In fact, I've certainly, I don't do a lot of kits that have sticker decals that you have to cut out. Most of the time, the stickers are either pre-cut or they're water slide decals, and that's an entirely different animal. But regardless, I have on rare occasion tried to cut right on the black line, and I've done it, but like if you cut right on the black line, then half of the black line is on the side that you are that you want, and it's really apparent. So you're really better off cutting closer to the decal. It's not going to hurt anything because you're cutting through clear sticker anyway. All right, so there we go. This is actually going to take a while, like longer than I'm going to record, because there's a lot to stick on, and hopefully this will go pretty well. There is one decal that I have that I know got a little bit damaged. So that I might have to like tack down with some kind of glue, probably CA glue. And I'm going to use the box as a reference guide. Oh, this is the one that came a little bit unpeeled, so I might have to tack that down. But as for the rest of this, I'm going to kind of stack these up. Some of these there's only one of, but like these, there are two of them. So that's easy enough to separate. This one, the Estes one, doesn't actually have a location, so I might not put that one on at all. We'll see. The instructions are actually pretty verbose in this part, telling you where to go looking for some of these things, but not all of them. In particular, the ones that are on the main fins. So let's break out the rocket again. Move this now so I have as much space to work with as I can. right, so I'm going to start with this guy right here. This one's supposed to go right around the midsection of the rocket, right here. So hopefully this will peel off nicely. I have to say I'm a bit anxious about this whole process because, there we go. All right, it looks decent. Hopefully it sticks reasonably well. All right, so you get a couple cracks at these before the stickiness starts to go away. So I'm going to try to get this on as straight as possible, at least to start. All right, and then I'm just going to let gravity pull it down. A little bit of an assist for me to keep everything on straight. I'm just going to slowly turn the rocket underneath, and hopefully this lines up pretty nicely. It looks okay so far. Here's a moment of truth. You want those black lines to match up as best as they can, and that's pretty good. All right, so I'm going to then just spin it again, and I'm going to push out any air bubbles that might be in there. There are some. I have to say, I really prefer working with water slides rather than these stick-on stickers, because, first of all, I think they look nicer. Second of all, the stickers, regardless of how fresh they are, how young they are, they always eventually start to peel, at least in my experience. Kind of no matter what you do, there's always going to be one that's going to be just doesn't want to do it. By the way, this is a weird glare. There's not actually a color there. I don't know why it looks like that. I guess it's just the lighting. Whatever. All right, a couple other ones we'll put on. This guy is going to go right below. So it looks like it's supposed to go. It's not going to go right below the fins, like touching them, because the launch lug is below the fins. So I'm going to set this based on the launch lug. It looks like, man, it's hard to tell. It doesn't look like it's centered on anything, honestly. So I think just because I'm going to center, I don't know. I'm going to try to center the kind of trapezoidal parts on one of the fins. Oops. But it's probably not going to be perfect. That looks decent. All right, again, I'm going to spin it. Let gravity pull it down and try to keep it a little taut anyway. Hopefully this will line up reasonably well. Yeah, that's not particularly good. So I'm going to have to try it again. I didn't quite get it on straight to begin with, it looks like. And this is the place where water slides are so much easier because you can just slide it rather than worrying about re-sticking everything. That didn't make it any better. I'm going to have to pull it off entirely and try this again because it's not on quite straight. That's a bummer. Because as I said, you only really get a couple cracks at this. That looks better. It's not perfect again. In fact, it's kind of gone the other direction this time. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lift up the starting point this time a little bit. And see if I can't get them to match a little bit better that way. So do be careful with these, obviously. These are not young. Right, that looks decent. Well, looks lined up. Doesn't look that decent. You could definitely tear these, and that would be not great. gonna have to take one more crack at this. I think what I'm going to do this time is I'm gonna start with the middle this time. So I'm gonna try to line the middle up with that fin. So this time, neither of these have to go as far. Yeah, that looks better. It's still not perfect, I don't think. But that I can live with. All right, so this probably has a good number of air bubbles in it that I'm going to have to worry about. There's a little bit of a seam that I made there. Don't really love that, so I'm going to try to pull this a little bit tighter. Not bad in terms of air bubbles, but not perfect either. So this overlapped a decent amount. I kind of feel like I want to cut this, but I don't entirely by the same token. Yeah. The problem is if I cut it, some of this red ring might get lost. But, you know, I think I'll give it a try. I'm going to break out my hobby knife for this. I'm going to try to trace where I want to cut. I don't know that that actually cut the whole way. It probably did actually. So there, a little bit of excess. Yeah, because the problem with these, the plastic or whatever, the sticker's material is a little bit thicker than a water slide decal, so it's more obvious when you have it layered. All right. I'm going to do, one more, I think, in this video, and the rest, you don't need to watch it because, how exciting is it? I do want to follow the instructions for this. So it says the fin decals have a left and a right side. The number 3 is applied to both sides of one fin. Same deal with the Vega logo, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to put the 3 on now. This is the one that peeled off a little bit, so it might not be very sticky there. We'll see. There isn't, I don't think it really matters which fin you choose for this. Although that being said, I can't, in the box art, you can't see the launch lug. So this side is kind of like down, I guess. So I'm going to put, I think I'm going to put the 3 here. Now these, you're going to have to eyeball it a little bit. And it doesn't fit snug against, I don't think it fit. No, it doesn't fit snug against the lander leg. It's supposed to be kind of in the middle. So do your best to try to center it. Oops. So I'll go with like right about here, I think. Oops. No, didn't actually want to drop it on, but that wasn't actually that bad. I do want to kind of pull it taut though while I'm doing this. So that way I get the fewest air bubbles possible. And when you have a big flat one like this, you should generally push from the center out. All right, so right down here, this corner was the one that came, this one is the one that came apart in the packaging. It's stuck decently right now, but I don't know how long that's going to last. So I'm definitely going to have to keep an eye on that. I'm going to do the other 3 quickly, and then I think that'll take care of today's video, or this segment anyway. I will put the rest on at my own leisure because this could very well take a while. You probably don't need to watch like 45 minutes of me applying stickers. Now, I'm going to try to get these lined up, and to some degree that's an eyeball kind of estimate. I think it's about here. If you really wanted to, the instructions say you could make pencil marks to aid your stickering. I don't think I really want to do that. All right, so here's where the decal is on one side, and it's here on the other, so it's off by like 1/4 of an inch. But I can live with that. That's good enough. All right, so that's good for now. I finished putting the decals on, and there's a little painting to do, so we'll do that in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you then.